Alrighty, we got another lens for you guys. This is the Sigma 24mm f1.4, and I have to say, this thing is amazing. Right off the rip, first day I got it, I was like, wow, it's crispy, it's sharp, it's so good at f1.4, and I'm so excited to show you some footage on this camera. This is a relatively old lens. I want to say it was released back in 2018, or maybe even older than that. I don't know, but it's relatively old, but it's amazing. It's got a full metal housing and it's relatively lightweight, a standard 77mm filter thread, and an f1.4 aperture. This thing is a powerhouse of a video lens. The video that you are gonna get released, or maybe it already released, on the 135mm f1.8. So if you guys are interested in this, make sure you check this video out next. But that entire video was filmed on this, including the B-roll. So you're getting a really good kind of idea of what this video looks like, or what this lens looks like for video, which I think at a focal length like this is what most people are going to use a 24mm for. I know some people who take photos on 24, maybe if you're a wildlife photographer and you shoot landscapes and stuff like that, or just urban photography. But in that case, a 1.4 wouldn't really matter to you because you're going to be shooting at like f8 most of the time, or f4, so that doesn't really matter. But video, this thing is a powerhouse. Let's run through a little bit of its specs, an overview, of this lens like we normally do, and then we'll run into Lightroom and really check out some images. I shot a wedding, I shot some portraits, I shot some various things, and I just want to show you again some of what this lens can do and what it's really amazing for. So starting really strong, obviously the Sigma 24mm f1.4. We know that. So full metal housing, aperture of f1.4, minimum aperture of f16, same as the 135mm. So if you are shooting video and you don't have an ND filter and it just happens to be right in the sun, you might be out of luck. You might be pushing your shutter speed, but buy an ND filter, buy a CPL. Those are the best things that you can buy right off the rip. So moving on, the lens mounts. We can do a Canon EF, Nikon F mount. We can do Sigma SA mount, and of course the Sony E mount, which it's on a Sony A7IV. This is a full frame camera. It can be put on a crop sensor. It'll just be cropped in to, I want to say, around 36, 32 millimeters. I don't know, 1.4 times, depending on the camera, because some are different. But 84.1 degree field of view on a full frame sensor. You have 15 elements in 11 groups. No one really cares about that. Special elements, you have FLD, SLD, and aspherical elements to reduce distortion and aberrations. Now, as much as that sounds boring, it is kind of important. Basically, what that means is that there are certain elements in this lens, in the glass, that help with distortion. Being 24mm, it's relatively wide, so you might get distortions in the corner. On this lens, it is kind of helped a little bit. In Lightroom, I will show you that it does distort just a hair, but you can fix it really easily, so it's not that big of a deal. Chromatic aberration isn't a big deal at all in this lens, and what Sigma has done to fix it is put some elements in here that get rid of basically all of chromatic aberration, which is amazing. Again, you have the 9-bladed aperture, same as the 135mm, which Sigma was basically really fond of, I guess, back in the 2018s and 2017s when those were released, unlike the newer Sigma 85mm f1.4 with an 11-bladed aperture. There's no IBIS in this lens, so I mean, if you're shooting videos and you don't have IBIS in your camera, that might suck for you, but basically all the new cameras, all of the good video ones have IBIS and are good. And at 24mm, you can crop in, stabilize it, and you'll be good. And at like 35mm, you'll still have a really good video lens, so it's not that big of a deal. Just letting you guys know that. It is an art series lens, so it's obviously going to be metal construction, which brings us into the construction and overview of it. So physically, it's a little bit heavy. I want to say it weighs 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds, something like that. So it's not light, it's not heavy. It's really nice, well-balanced lens. It is a full metal construction. You have a relatively small focus swing up front, but it's smooth, quiet autofocus. On the side, you have a single button, or click I guess, which does your autofocus to manual focus, and it's really tactile, like it just sounds good. Like, let's listen to it real quick. It just sounds cool. But again, full metal housing, and then you have the same thing as the 135, and not on the newer lenses from Sigma. You have the, I call it the window, the peaky window or whatever, but you can basically just see what distance you're focused at and at what aperture is going to be sharp and in focus, starting at obviously f1.4 and then going to f8 and f16, which is kind of cool. It's fun to watch, and I just think it's a cool feature that they added. And I kind of wish they still had that on some of their newer lenses, like the 85mm, but that's not for me to decide. It's for Sigma. Again, that's basically the overview. Really quick and simple. My thoughts, really good lens. If you want a video lens, if you want a sharp portrait lens, or if you want a wider angle lens for anything, I would say this thing is it. It's relatively cheap priced. Let's hop into Lightroom. Let's do some stuff with it, and I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, welcome back, and let's look at some of these photos. Before we look at these photos though, I do want to talk a little bit about the lens itself and how it is using it. Now, I did use it for a little bit here, and I shot a wedding, I shot some cars with it, I shot some portraits as well, and it was really nice to use. It is a little bit heavier than I would have liked. It is bigger than the Sigma 85mm f1.4 and a little bit smaller than the 135mm f1.4. It weighs around 2.1 pounds, 2.25 pounds, something in that range. So it's not a light lens. You know it's there when you're holding it, which to me isn't a problem, but to other people it could be. So let's dive into some of these photos. Starting off, we're going to jump into a little bit of a wedding. I have 4 wedding photos and then like 3 or 4 portrait photos in cars. So obviously this is a wedding. It's sharp. If I were to look at this image and instantly say something, it's sharp. If we go into 200%, well, that's definitely more than 200%, but up here where my focus is locked, it's extremely sharp all the way through. And as you come down, you can see that nice drop off, especially at f1.4, shooting wide open. Let's see the exact settings this was shot at, but we are at 1/500th of a second, f1.4, ISO 200. And you can see some nice blurry background, good background separation. With the 24mm though, you're not going to get the best out of focus background, but it's really nice. There's basically no compression in 24mm, so that's why that is. But it looks really nice. So moving on, this is a different color grade that I have on that one, just to show you the versatility in the colors. But yeah, basically the same thing again. Very sharp, very sharp. And this is what the raw files look like. So just in case you want to see that. Moving on to the dance floor. This was, let's definitely get it straight first off. There we go. This was a slow shutter shot. So 1/15th of a second, f1.6, ISO 100, obviously on the 24mm DG HSM Art series lens. Now, this lens, I chose this photo because of what it does. A slow shutter speed, basically wide open, you might get a lot of, noise, not noise, but a lot of blurriness and nothing really being sharp. Obviously, my technique on slow shutter speed isn't terrible, but you can see that where I'm focused on the bride is tack sharp. Like, if I would just go down the dress, it's extremely sharp. Even on her face, it's extremely sharp. And as you come into maybe some more people in the background, they're out of focus. Olga's out of focus. Everyone is out of focus. And it looks really nice. Really wide lens, really beautiful. Again, just a really nice lens. Here's the raw file, color graded, simple. Looks really good. Now we just have a normal portrait of some people at the wedding. Okay, so now we're going to move into more portrait things and cars. This is still at the wedding, but let's just look at it. So obviously we have one bridesmaid and then one just guest at the wedding. And 24mm, it doesn't look bad. We can look at the exact settings, but we're at 1/200th ISO 640. It was a really dark room, that's why. So yeah, obviously I overexposed it, but no one cares. We brought it back. But it looks really good. If we come into the faces, you can see obviously my on-camera flash in their eyes for that catch light, and then their faces are really, really tack sharp. You can see like every individual hair on their face, which is absolutely crazy to me. And honestly, it's really nice. You can see every little bump, every little thing on their face, and coming down to their dresses, both are really tack sharp. I didn't even notice she had a tattoo on her, but everything is just really, really sharp, including their eyes, which obviously it was focused on. Coming back out, I chose this image because of this light up here. Now, as you guys know, I love an 85mm f1.4. I love 135, 101, 105mm f1.4. All of those longer focal ranges with that lower aperture to get compression and amazing bokeh. This is the first time I've shot on a lens like this, a wider lens on a lower aperture, so I was really curious to see what bokeh I could get. Now, obviously, it's focused on the faces, so this is out of focus up top where we're gonna look. But it's nice. I'm not gonna say it's like top tier bokeh that I've ever seen, but the chandelier up there is very nice and beautiful. If I were to look at this photo, instantly I would obviously say it's taken on a professional camera with a really nice lens because of that bokeh. It's perfectly round in some places, but then there are a couple of cat's eyes like in here and here and right here. Now, that to say it is kind of in the corner, but it is a very nice image, and I'm happy with it. There's no compression, which obviously I like more, but for being a wide angle lens, that's some really nice bokeh. So, moving on into some portrait stuff. So, this is a photo inside of a Corvette, obviously, because I wanted to show the width of this lens in the field of view. So, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a C8 Corvette, especially a Z06, but they're pretty wide. Well, like from the driver's seat to the front to the wheel is a good amount of space, and it's like a kind of like a normal car, but there are bucket seats where you sit low into it. So I want to show you guys what you can get with this 24mm lens, getting from the wheel to the back of the seat, and I just think it's a cool shot showing the extreme tack sharpness right on his technically his eyebrow, but on his eye. And I mean, that is just really sharp, and you can see the fall off from his ear into his eye, and it looks really nice in here. And you can kind of see definitely whether that being up close shines on the wheel is heavily overexposed. Do not worry about it. The sun was right behind us, but still, drinking that McDonald's, so still really tack sharp. Alright, moving on to the final two, we got some rollers. 1/15th of a second f8 ISO 100, because I wanted to show you these two photos, show you what this lens can actually do. Now for rollers, this would honestly be my go-to lens. A 24mm is just so good for rollers. The field of view is amazing. I was just hanging out the window, I wasn't in the back of the car, and I could get them really up close and just get the full car and even some environmental stuff with it, and it looks amazing. The car is basically as sharp as you can get for hand holding at 1/15th of a second. The road is just blurry, blurry, blurry. It looks amazing. All of that movement in the back is just really nice. There's the raw file. Looks really good. There's my color grade. Looks good as well. So moving on. Same thing. Really nice. 1/15th f8. Same settings, but vertical, and you can see just how nice this looks. It is a little bit more blurry back here, but still a really nice image, and I'd be extremely happy with sending this to my clients. And there's the raw file, and there's my color grade. So as you guys can see, this lens is nice. From weddings to portraits to cars, this lens really can do anything you want for the wide angle. Now obviously there is going to be the newer 24mm f1.4 and f1.4, and I do recommend you guys trying both out. Now this older one was built for DSLRs but has been adapted to the Sony E mount. The autofocus is extremely fast. It's quiet, it's fast, it's quick, and it doesn't hunt as far as I'm concerned. I shot video with it, which you guys saw, and it looks good. It's really good autofocus, it's fast, and honestly, I don't know if you need to spend the extra money for the newer one. Now, go watch some other videos, go review them, and find out for yourself. But in my opinion, I don't think you need the newer one unless you are doing professional stuff. Whereas me, I'm just doing stuff on the side where I'm shooting weddings and cars and stuff. And yes, that is semi-professional, but I'm not doing it as my full-time job. If you are, then definitely invest in the best class that you can. And if you guys enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe, and help us get to 2,000 subscribers. We are very, very close. In fact, by the time I release this video, we might be at 2,000. So the next one, 3,000. So I hope you guys enjoy. As always, peace. God bless y'all. And I'll see you in the next one.